Well, if you'll start dusting, I'll sweep. My name is H.R. Grimm, and I live at 33 Limestone Boulevard. Last city council meeting, as a member of the military and after the shooting down at Fort Hood, I had asked that the mayor write a letter to the commander of Fort Hood. I'm very proud to say that he did, and when this last weekend, when I was in Minneapolis with a bunch of returning veterans and their spouses from Iraq and Afghanistan, I was very proud to say that my community supports those of us in uniform and our families. And I have a copy that he sent to Lieutenant General Robert Cohn, who is the commander of Fort Hood, and I'm going to read that. Again, since I asked the mayor to do this, I thought it's only fitting that I read what he wrote, as I feel that it's an expression of all of us. Dear General Cohn, on behalf of the entire Chillicothe community, I express my deepest and most sincere sympathy for the recent shooting at Fort Hood. All of us in Chillicothe have a deep-felt concern for our soldiers as well as the civilian workforce at Fort Hood. The citizens feel the pain and the loss of our country's finest in uniform, as the pain and loss of family, friends, and fellow comrades in arms. This senseless tragedy invokes our community to prayer and support for all the troops, families, and friends at Fort Hood and throughout the world where our brave soldiers serve. Founded in 1796, serving as the first capital of Ohio, Chillicothe knows the high cost of our freedom, as each and every generation has served and defended our nation. Chillicothe is known as the heart of Midwest and has hosted many presidential visits. We are also home to a Veterans Administration Medical Center, where the high cost of freedom is visible every day. We believe that those who recently lost their life at Fort Hood did not die in vain, but died serving their nation. Be assured that Chillicothe is ready and willing to assist you and your command in any way. Sincerely yours, Joseph P. Sulcer, Mayor. And as a citizen and as a member of the military, thank you, Mayor. And I do thank God every day for my hometown of Chillicothe, Ohio. Thank you very much.
Does anyone else wish to address council this evening?
My name is Gail Taylor. I live at 253 Vine Street, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I'm speaking tonight as an individual, and I'd like to address the matter of the purchase and financing of the AEP building, the former AEP building for use by the municipal court. And what I'd ask you to do is nothing final. Don't act in any binding way on this legislation in this term of council. If it is brought to the floor, I would ask you to recommit it. Even though the issue of a new home for the court has been around for a long time, I believe the situation still needs more deliberation and more time to play itself out. There are several reasons why I believe action would still be premature. No plans exist for the future of the city building if it's vacated. The city should have a complete strategy for the future of the center of downtown before making such an important and irrevocable move. The legislation was recommitted in June because council members felt they didn't have enough information to go forward. I wonder if there's adequate information now. The financial situation of the city for the coming year is unclear, but it may be particularly bad. The city and its taxpayers would be responsible for obligations on bonds for the purchase in case court revenues for any reason couldn't cover the costs. I understand that new issues continually come up that may give council members a renewed sense of urgency before discussion of all the factors entering into to meet the needs of the judges, and that's part of their job. But there's a reason why it's in the power of council and not the judges themselves to provide a home for the court. The council is called on to consider the needs of the judges as well as the needs of the whole city of Chillicothe. Progress very briefly to procedural matters. I believe it would be a violation of council rules to take up this matter during this term without conforming to the 3-day receipt rule. I outlined my reasons for this in a memo I sent to council by email today. The rules, I believe, state clearly that the 3-day notice can't be suspended for committed legislation. If this matter does come to the floor, I would ask you to recommit it and to continue to gather information, deliberate, and move forward in a very carefully thought out manner. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Does anybody else wish to address council this evening? Okay, we will move on. Old business. Council members, any old business needs to be discussed this evening or brought up? None? Okay. Mr. Fawson, any petitions or correspondence received?
Yes, Mr. President. I did receive a letter from Gail Taylor, Janet Griffith, Laurel Evans, and Barbara Herlihy with a copy of a letter that was sent to all council members concerning the former AEP building, and asking that council take no action on that matter during the current term of council, as just indicated by Ms. Taylor. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. New business. Mrs. Malone.
Thank you, President Schultz. I appreciate Ms. Taylor's words. Since I'm the one that moved to commit this piece of legislation, I guess I'm being looked at by all. We have done a lot of discussion, a lot of fact-finding. One of the major issues that has been resolved one way or the other is that the voters very handily voted down any support of the Carlisle building. That's one of the things we were looking at and waiting for, to hear how the voters felt. Would there be monies to rehab the Carlisle/Howson building? There are other issues, as you pointed out. In this world of lawsuits, and there's no need to expound on it, but because I don't want to give anyone any ideas that it doesn't already have one. But I think we have discussed this, we've looked at it, we've turned it upside down, right side up, and at this time I would like to make a motion to uncommit this piece of legislation.
Second by Mrs. Patrick.
There are two pieces of legislation. I think they should be taken one at a time.
Yeah.
So
Item number 1, please.
Okay.
that would be the item 1 of the committed legislation. Who was the second one?
Mrs. Patrick. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Prohl.
No.
Patrick.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Lester.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Bonner.
No.
Ames.
Yes.
And the motion passed.
6-2.
Motion passed 6-2. Okay, Mrs. Malone.
I would like to now make a motion to uncommit item number 2.
Okay, second by Mrs. Patrick. And roll call.
Trutchell.
Yes.
Prohl.
No.
Patrick.
Yes.
Malone.
Yes.
Lester.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Bonner.
No.
Ames.
Yes.
And that motion passed 6-2. So those would remain at third reading, and Mr. Churchill, yes.
President Schultz, I'd like to make a motion not to read item 1 and item 2 tonight, but leave them on the agenda, just not read them tonight.